Hi there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And my name is James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James. Welcome to the show.
And tonight I am going to talk about, do we have good leadership? And the we could be anybody, right? It could be in a different nation or it could be in our nation. And if not, why not? So I hope that you're going to be very excited to listen to our show. But before I get into that, I'd like to have Sweet Baby James tell you more about our program.
Well, you've come to Granny Rocks, where once again we have the opportunity to hear Granny share her wit, her wisdom, and her very uncommon sense.
And one more time, mess up the beginning by having the volume on. So you can feel superior to me immediately.
And we air, to err is human, to forgive divine. We air every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So now, without further ado, take it away, Granny.
Okay, everybody. So, today I was talking on the phone to a salesperson, who of course was working from home from somewhere, right? And we were having a really nice conversation. And then she started to vent her anger towards the government. And I actually shared all of her feelings. But after a while, it was like getting to me. It's like, oh my God, let's get real about this whole thing instead of just going on and 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 on about the same thing, about this, over and over and about how stupid people are and how. So I started to think about, do we actually have good leadership in our country? And you can be looking at it in your country. And if not, why don't we? So that's what I want to talk about. So first of all, I had to ask myself, what is good leadership, right? So here's what I came up with, and we'll see what you think of all of this. Good leadership to me is the ability to see, to have the vision, to understand the problem. Elizabeth said hello there with a heart, and hello there, Elizabeth, so glad to see you. So one, in order to have good leadership or to be a leader, you have to actually see what's going on, right?
Instead of just going on assumptions.
Right. You
Or
can't.
opinions. We do that a lot.
That's
Opinions.
exactly right. Or having your head in the sand, or wishful thinking, or any of the rest of it. So then we goes, we have to understand the problem. Then we need to, and I'm going to go into this in greater detail. You need the willingness to get the support you need in order to find solutions, right?
Well, instead of assuming that you're automatically going to be able to do it all by yourself.
That's you keep getting ahead of me.
Okay.
You're getting ahead of me, honey.
Oh,
Okay.
this is good. We're on the same wavelength.
Yes, we are. You need the skills to help people see the realities. You know what I mean? Are you going to say something about that before I?
Well, yeah, I can see whatever realities I agree with what you say.
Thank you. And Todd said, "Hi, Granny and Sweet Baby James. Good topic. Thank you."
Hi, Todd. Thank you.
And finally, last but not least, you need to have good leadership. Your leadership has to have the courage to do the right thing no matter what. So the question is, do we have good leadership, right? And I'm beginning to think that this camera is not, half my face is missing. How did all of that happen? Okay, so there we go. Hopefully it's better now.
Presto.
Okay, so now what is the issue, with good leadership? So the first thing is you have to have the ability to see and understand the problems. There is such a thing as intelligence.
Yes, there is.
I don't think it's snobby to say that intelligence is an important factor in leadership, because you need people to be able to see what's going on. Karen said, "Hi, you too." Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
So there is a certain intelligence, and I don't mean smart like street smarts. I mean by that, and I don't mean intellect, and I don't even mean education. What I mean is the capacity to observe, to see, to comprehend what you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
And that's true whether it's a family that you're trying to lead or a nation you're trying to lead. So, you've got to be alert, you have to be aware, and you have to be have the capacity to comprehend, to understand what's happening. And sometimes that's not so easy because that's deep, right? Yassine says, nice to meet you. May happiness and health belong to you, a very romantic couple.
Oh, thank you, Yassine.
How do you like
we
that?
send our love to you as well.
That goes to show you that even in your 70s, you can be a very romantic couple. So some people do not have the capacity to have an overview of the world, that don't have the capacity to comprehend what's going on and to understand the problems. Now, I would hate to be put in a position, for example, of having to be in charge of the economy or the coronavirus healthcare response, right? I don't have, it's not that I'm not smart. I'm not smart in that area. So I don't have the capacity in that area, right?
Right.
I mean, I can have some general intelligence that would help, as opposed to some other lack of intelligence that doesn't help. So I'm not being insulting to anybody. It's a fact, right? That's who you want in your leader. You want them to actually be able to see things and understand things. Now, supposing they don't have that. Now, we have the second point is the willingness to get the support to find the solutions. And here is where that darn little ego is in the way, yes, again. I mean, yet again. Okay. You have to be willing to recognize that you may not have all the answers. Right? So you've got to be willing to get support from other people to find solutions. You need to be able to bring together teams. You need to be able to work with those teams. You need to not be arrogant and pretentious. Right? So that's part of the willingness to get support to find solutions. And a lot of people brought up in an environment where it was really important to look smart or to, I'm not talking about being smart, I'm talking about looking smart. And to
have the answers.
And to have the answers being Mr. or Miss Answer Man or Woman, right? Or other. So,
or at least have the answers for the tests.
Right. Okay, so it means humility. Oh my God, now we need understanding, comprehension, and humility? Oh my God, did we ever elect anybody like that? Okay, then we need the skill to help people see the realities. In other words, people have to be led, meaning you need to help them to see things even when they don't want to do it. So that means a certain kind of skill and ability to work with people, and to talk to people, and a willingness to do that. And then the fourth thing, which is the courage to do the right thing no matter what, that's part of the helping people to see the realities. You're positing solutions that you feel are really going to help. Like, I have admiration for the governor of our state, which is Oregon, because she moved in right away and started social distancing and closing things, and
stay at home,
and perhaps as a result of this, we have had very little coronavirus in Oregon, even though there was a serious outbreak in Washington to the north and California to the south of us. So that to me was leadership. She was willing to go out on a limb, do unpopular things, and do it because that was what she felt was right. And she is that kind of a person, Now, sometimes we don't see or understand problems because we are blinded by prejudice. We have been so brainwashed to think in a certain way that we refuse to think that anything else could be true. Don't you think that's true?
Oh, yeah.
So we are blinded by prejudice. We can be blinded by fear. People get into very fearful places and can't think straight. Sometimes people who are very thoughtful may be paralyzed by their own emotional traumas and inability to stand up and really lead. So there's a difference between the willingness to find support, to find solutions, and the fear to take a stand. Now, I have seen leaders in this nation where I really admired them. I thought they had the intelligence. I could see them getting support to find solutions. But I felt like they lacked a willingness to go all the way with what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to really, when it came right down to it, they weren't willing to tell the truth. And if you're allergic to the truth, you cannot lead. Now, I've been talking about the weaknesses in leaders. And, you know, it's a very difficult thing because people in the, certainly in the political arena, are not necessarily elected because they have these leadership qualities. They may be elected because they lie convincingly, or they feed into the prejudices of the day. You know, that's very possible. So we don't always have leaders in leadership positions. And from what I saw in the business world when I worked in corporate America, is that in the business world it wasn't better. I saw a lot of people in leadership positions who were there because they knew how to placate the boss and get on his good side. So, you know, what kind of leadership do you think we're going to have there? Right? So it's not always the fault of the person, however, because a lot of it has to do with us, whether we want good leadership or not. So let me take a look at that topic. A lot of people don't want good leadership because leadership, good leadership, forces us to think. You know, it says, look here, guys, here's the problem. These are the ideas that we're considering. This is what we're thinking is going to work. And you guys, we are the people who are selecting our leaders, have to be willing to have that kind of leader. Why are there so many authoritarian leaders in the world today? Because people are scared and don't want to have to think. They want someone to answer. It's like Big Daddy in the sky. God will solve the problem. Santa Claus will come. The Tooth Fairy is in charge. And we don't want to have to think for ourselves. Life is too complicated. Oh no, this is so complicated. This is so complicated. This is so complicated. I can't figure this out. I think I'd better just like go and listen to somebody, right? And then we don't want to take responsibility for making decisions because we could be wrong. I mean, how would you like to have been Dr. Fauci, you know, saying, oh, this is the way it is, and, you know, this is what we need to do, and people didn't want to hear what he had to say, and a lot of people still don't want to hear what he has to say, and he goes
and
to...
the president didn't want to hear a lot of what he had to say.
President didn't want to hear what he has to say. So we may not make it easy for people who are leading, and we don't want to think. We want the easy solution that's going to solve everything. For instance, why don't you drink Lysol? That's it.
Drink a disinfectant, right?
Drink a disinfectant. You know, that'll solve everything, right? I mean, and you look at this and you say, why are people even listening to this? Well, because they want an answer, because they feel desperate, because they want to believe somebody has a simple answer and that we're not going to have to face all the pain and problems that are ahead of us if we take a more responsible attitude. So, how many people really want to think? I ask you. I mean, look, one thing about this woman that I was talking to today that I agreed with a lot of what she said. But, you know, she was saying, okay, people are stupid, people are stupid, people are stupid. Why are they doing this? They should know better. This is common sense, right? But if people want to believe that leader, then they are going to believe that leader, right? So that's not that people are stupid, but that people are desperate to have that answer, that authoritarian answer. And then she went on to come up with all these conspiracy theories about where the virus came from. And I thought, oh my God, is she any different? And she said, well, I haven't checked into it thoroughly yet. So God bless her, she did that. But we all want something simple. Oh yes, it was this. It was that. Oh yes, our economy is in trouble because we have too many undocumented workers, or because women are not staying home anymore. That's why we have these problems, or whatever. Simplistic answers, right? And you're going to love this. We don't want good leadership because bad leadership turns us against somebody, gives us a target, right? And then we get to vent. So we can vent at the president, or we can vent at his supporters, or the president could vent against the Democrats, and they can vent against the doctors, and the doctors can vent against everybody can vent. And how convenient is that? Do you want to vent? I want to vent. I'm tired of being sane. I just want to go vent. All this pent up frustration, especially from staying home. You get very pent up. You get very frustrated. Okay, we get to vent. And then finally, and last but not least, and by the way, we only seem to have 4 comments, so I can't answer your comments because I'm not getting them. If you are commenting, we are not getting those comments, and anything is possible on Facebook.
Or if you have a question, we're not seeing any of that either.
That's right. So the last thought that immediately comes to mind is that when we haven't got good leadership, nothing changes. We don't have to have the courage to face the real causes of our problems.
Status quo, keep it the same.
Status quo. We don't have to look at the values of society. We don't have to look at the way we have been trained to either listen to authority or rebel. I actually heard an interview of Dr. Phil, who is this, psychologist.
He's a TV pop psychologist, you might say.
Right. And he said that, well, more people die from smoking and from swimming pool accidents that have died from the coronavirus. Evidently, he doesn't see the difference between a swimming pool accident and a virus, which is contagious. He's not aware of that. Well, that's amazing, isn't it? So,
right.
You look at people who are out there in the public and put themselves forward as leaders, and they're coming up with this junk, and nothing changes. We don't have to look at ourselves. We don't have to look at the real problems in our societies. And isn't that cool, right? Let's let it all go. So, I'd love to know what people think. And it doesn't look like we're going to get any comments. So would you like to add something before we go and drink some Lysol tonight?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do
no,
it.
Don't get. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, right?
Well, one comment I'd like to make is that so much of the leadership we see in our country and in other countries is so many of our leaders are self-centered.
Yes, indeed.
And so it's all about getting the attention on them, getting all this adulation and praise and so on them, being in the spotlight, etc. And not enough consideration for what's for the highest good of all. What do all the people need? Well, how can we meet all the needs of the people? Or instead of this self-centered profiteering from being in office, I'm going to get all kinds of campaign contributions, which are really a graft, which means that I'm going to be able to have that money. So I owe these people favors. So when I get in office, I'm going to help them fulfill their agendas.
I couldn't agree with you more, Sweetie B. James, and I would like to add, even add something to that. But Elizabeth said, I think it's easier for someone to take the reins. It's so easy, yes, except look at the mess we're in because we let others take the reins.
Yeah.
So that is unfortunately, I haven't even talked about that, but I'm glad you brought that out, the corruption. You have to be willing to do the right thing instead of the convenient thing that's going to get you ahead. We have to overcome ego to have good leadership. It can't be about making the world safe for me and my friends. We have to see the problem. We have to care about other people. And so many people and leaders are using the reins of power in order to promote their self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not good leadership. And Elizabeth said, it's easier to not have to think. So many of us use the excuse, I don't have time. We have blinders on, like the kind used for horses, so we just focus on our immediate stresses. Exactly, Elizabeth. Exactly. In fact, one of the embarrassing things about this time is that some people, not all, have more time to think than they had before.
Yeah.
So, but oh yeah, if we could just get all caught up in our anxiety and our fears, then we don't have to take the mental space to really look at the big picture. And we've been talking about the big picture on this show for a long time, about the alienation of people from one another, about the corruption, about the ego, that it's all about me. And Elizabeth said, I'm wondering if doing the right thing can exist in politics. And that's another really important point. And I hate to say this is the downfall of democracy. You have to get elected. And whether you're buying the election through money and advertising, or you're buying the election by feeding people's fears and anger, you're buying the election. And that is not going to promote good leadership. Good leadership has to be a sacred trust between the leaders and the people who support that leadership. And why should politicians be any better than anybody else? Getting ahead, looking out for number one. That is the disease of our century, of our political and economic system. So, there you have it. So those were wonderful comments, Elizabeth. I really appreciate it.
I would just like to also add that there's sometimes a politician will do the right thing. We've seen lots of examples of that in our history. It's just that, like when Abraham Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation, or when FDR put through the New Deal, or when LBJ put through the Great Society programs. He did some things right, he did some things not so right. But there we are. But yes, it's possible that they can do the right thing. But they have to have consensus to get stuff done.
Well, there's 2 points. One is the consensus of the people who want to get riled up against and blame somebody. But there's also the consensus of the powers that be. FDR didn't get through the New Deal by being a radical. He got through the New Deal by telling the capitalists that if they didn't go along with this, they were going to lose everything. So that was smart, right? He had the skill to help people see the realities.
Yeah,
so even in people that we admire, we have often seen that there is an element of trying to get the support from the powers that be, and they have the money. And Boyce said, "Hi, Master, God bless you always." Well,
hi, Boy.
Thank you. Thank you, and God bless you. So I think I'd better be quiet now. So you want to remind people of our shows, our many shows?
Yes, indeed. In addition to these episodes that we have here every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, we also on Thursday evening have Dreams of Peace music by Beth, which broadcasts beautiful, beautiful piano music that helps people to feel more whole, more at peace, more connected with themselves. And Thursday at noon, for the present time, up until May the 28th, we're having a support group for spreading peace around the coronavirus for experiencing the peace that we have a guided process virtually every time. And everybody seems to come out feeling better than when they went in and more empowered. And it's free. Now, these live streams, of course, go straight to Facebook, but the Thursday support group around the coronavirus, led by Beth, is a video conference that you can just click on the link on this post for this show, and it'll take you to where you can register to be able to get onto that video conference. And then just come at 12 noon on that Thursday, and we meet from 12 to 1.
That is right. And Elizabeth made one more comment. I'm concerned about people and businesses putting pressure on governors to reopen the economy, and the governor possibly opening things up too quickly. Well, that's it, because people are desperate, people are fearful, people are anxious, people are rebellious, people want to express themselves. They don't want to be told what to do, even if it's for the highest good of all, because we don't have the kind of society where people think in terms of that highest good. And I agree with you. And I'll have to tell you, there isn't a lot of money in offering free things to help people.
That's true.
Whereas there's a lot more money in having people get angry and support you for all the wrong reasons.
So true.
So it's been a pleasure visiting with you. Please share this program. Please like it. Please add your comments. If you're coming later, I will happy to respond to your comments after the show whenever they come in. And I appreciate the wonderful comments that we did have. And God bless you and keep you safe and help us to calm down and think about what we're doing.
God bless you all. Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Bye-bye.